Welcome to my channel. There was a time in my life when I was ready to quit. Every dream I'd felt too far, every effort felt wasted, and I was convinced I had nothing left to give. I thought about walking away from everything I'd worked for. But in that moment, something inside me whispered, "Not yet." This is my true story of how I chose to fight when quitting seemed easier. How I rebuilt myself step by step, and how I turned my breaking point into my breakthrough. If you've ever felt tired, hopeless, or ready to give up, I want you to know that you are stronger than you think. Stay with me until the end. This might be the story that reminds you to keep going. I was ready to quit, but I chose to fight when life seemed to have taken every ounce of strength from me. It didn't happen overnight. It was a slow erosion, like waves wearing down a rock until it crumbles. For months, maybe years, I had been carrying burdens I couldn't put into words. Every step forward was followed by 2 steps back. Opportunities slipped away, relationships broke down, and my confidence drained like water through open fingers. I had always believed that persistence would be enough, that hard work could outshine bad luck. But reality was teaching me a different lesson. The people I trusted the most either walked away or stayed only to remind me of my failures. Every morning felt heavier than the last. I'd wake up with the same question in my head. Why am I even trying? Bills piled up, my health took a hit, and my dreams, once bright and vivid, started to fade into the background noise of survival. I kept telling myself to hold on, but the grip was slipping. I remember one night in particular when I sat in silence, staring at my reflection in the darkened window. The person looking back wasn't me anymore. I didn't see the fighter I used to be. I saw someone beaten, someone tired. In that moment, quitting felt like the only relief I could imagine. My mind began building its case. You've tried enough. You've done your best. Maybe it's time to let go. The temptation to surrender wasn't just emotional. It was logical. Why keep running a race you can't win? Why keep climbing when the peak feels like it's moving further away? My heart ached under the weight of hopelessness. I thought about the years I had poured into dreams that now felt like illusions, about the friendships I had invested in that ended with betrayal, about the sacrifices that seemed to have bought me nothing but exhaustion. My body was worn out from sleepless nights and endless anxiety. My mind was clouded with doubt, and my spirit felt hollow. I couldn't remember the last time I had laughed without forcing it. The idea of walking away from it all didn't feel like giving up. It felt like finally letting myself rest. But deep inside, under the exhaustion and fear, there was a faint, stubborn spark, the part of me that wasn't ready to end my story like this. I didn't know how to fight anymore, but I knew I couldn't walk away yet. Something in me whispered that the same persistence I once believed in could still carry me forward, even if I could only move one step at a time. That night, instead of deciding to quit, I decided to wait. Just one more day, I told myself, and maybe, just maybe, that would be enough to change everything. The day I realized that quitting would hurt more than trying. That spark I felt wasn't a burst of motivation. It was a quiet reminder that I had survived worse. I began by asking myself one simple question. What if I give it one more day? One more day turned into a week, and that week became the turning point. I started small. I stopped comparing my progress to others. I celebrated things no one else noticed, making it out of bed on time, finishing a small task, even smiling once during the day. I began to write down every reason I had to keep going, no matter how small it seemed. At first, the list was short. My family, a few unfinished goals, the belief that my story could inspire someone else. Then it grew. I remember dreams I had buried because they felt impossible. I recalled promises I had made to myself. Slowly, I began to rebuild my discipline. I treated each day like training, not just for my work, but for my mind. I read books about resilience, listened to people who had fought their way through hardship, and practiced gratitude even when it felt forced. I started walking in the mornings, letting the fresh air clear my thoughts, and I limited the time I spent with people who drained my energy. The more I fought, the more I realized the fight wasn't against the world. It was against the version of me that had accepted defeat. I stopped waiting for the right time and started creating it. I took risks again, small at first, then bigger. I applied for opportunities one felt unqualified for. I reached out to old contacts, even if I feared rejection. Every no still hurt, but each one also toughened me. The victories were slow to come, but when they did, they felt earned in a way nothing else ever had. One small win became the fuel for the next, and then another. I began to see that life was less about giant leaps and more about consistent steps forward, even when they felt too small to matter. The fight was changing me from the inside out. My mindset shifted from I can to I will try, and that made all the difference. I started to realize that my progress wasn't just about achieving goals. It was about becoming the kind of person who could handle the storms without losing sight of the shore. And in the process, I discovered the person I was always meant to be. I used to think strength was about never breaking, but I've learned that true strength is about breaking and still choosing to stand. The fight transformed me. I became someone who could endure uncertainty without falling apart. Someone who could see failure as feedback instead of a dead end. My dreams returned, not as distant fantasies, but as goals within reach. People began to notice the change, not in what I had, but in how I carried myself. My voice was steadier, my decisions clearer, my eyes sharper. I learned to value progress over perfection and persistence over speed. There are still bad days, but now they didn't break me. They reminded me why I started. I realized that quitting had been the easy path. The fight was where the growth lived. And as I grew, I wanted to help others find their own fight. I began sharing my journey openly, speaking to people who were standing where I once stood, on the edge of giving up. I told them the truth. You don't need to know the whole road ahead. You just need to take the next step. I started volunteering to speak at community events, writing about my experiences, and offering encouragement to anyone who reached out. Slowly, my pain turned into purpose. Looking back now, I see that the moment I wanted to quit was actually the moment I was closest to change. That's the irony. Your breaking point can also be your breakthrough. Today, I stand not just with achievements, but with the unshakable knowledge that I am stronger than the storms I've faced. I have faced rejection, loss, and moments where fear whispered that I wasn't enough, but I fought anyway. And in that fight, I found my freedom. I no longer measure my worth by the number of wins, but by the number of times I refuse to walk away when it gets hard. I know there will be more battles ahead, but I'm no longer afraid of them, because I've learned the most important lesson of all. I am not defined by the times I want to quit, but by the times I chose to fight. Thank you for watching my story. The moment I was ready to quit became the moment I learned to fight. I hope this reminds you that no matter how hard things get, your strength is not gone. It's waiting for you to use it. Quitting is the easy choice, but fighting is where you grow, where you change, and where you win. If this video touched your heart, share it with someone who might be standing at the edge of giving up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment with your own story. I'd love to hear it. Remember, your battle isn't over until you decide it is. And when you choose to fight, you choose to live.